Da do 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 da do do. Just chilling in my room, ain't fucking with my mood. I'm just gonna do what I do. Move with the moon, moon that needs the moon.
What's up, y'all? It's Nytelife, and this is 4BarLoop. My guest this evening is the very talented young lady by way of Sacramento, California. It is the hip hop witch herself, Moon Magic. How you doing this evening?
Peace, everyone. I'm doing good. Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me on the show.
Hey, yeah, I heard nothing but good things from people around. So, and I got to be able to check out your music too. So it's really cool to be able to have you on here tonight. I see you gearing up for the 7th annual Slap Frost tour. You know, how is that going right now?
Woo! I'm super excited. I can't wait to go out to the Midwest. It's actually going to be my first time ever out in the Midwest. So shout
Wow.
out to everybody out there. You got to show your girl a good time because I've never been out to Chicago, never been out to a lot of those areas. I've never been further out to Texas, and New York. Everything in the middle, haven't been to. So I'm real excited to just get to connect with folks, and I'm super excited to be on the road with the people I'm on the road with. They're good folks and talented, amazing artists and musicians. So it's going to be a real lit time. Everybody better come out, have a good time, get a little lit with us and leave with some good vibes.
Yeah. So you getting ready for that culture shock, huh?
I'm getting ready for the cold more than anything. That's what I keep thinking about is the cold. Uh, I'm from California, born and raised, so me and the cold, we're not on the good right terms.
Yeah, I went out to Chicago a few years ago to visit one of my cousins out there, and yeah, it was that's a different kind of cold out there. So yeah, bundle up. Um, so I noticed you got a pretty chill style, and just from listening to your music and stuff like that, what are some of the music? What are some of the messages like you're trying to convey with your music?
Hmm. Well, okay, if I really had to think about what messages I'm trying to convey, I think the first thing would definitely be authenticity. I think for me as an artist, it's just really, really important for me to be able to speak my truth. And it's like an ever evolving process of what that truth is, right? Because we're born into this world, and as we are born into this world, our truth is taken from us, and we're put on with a bunch of BS of what it means to be our identities or as a human or our society or what we're supposed to do. And for me, it's a process of trying to figure out who I am underneath all of that and the unlearning and relearning. Um, so it's quite a process, and each song or each album I feel like is like a new layer of that process. So definitely the first thing would be authenticity. Um, and the second thing is just empowerment to all women, definitely, and just the power that we have connected to the moon and that feminine side. Although I believe that there is masculine and feminine in all of us, and an
Mhm.
energy in which we all can interact with. But just putting that in the forefront, I think a lot of the issues we have in society comes from that imbalance. I think if we sat back and listened and observed and kind of embodied some of that more moon energy, at times we could kind of balance out a little bit of that kind of direct, aggressive energy that we see getting played out a lot on the national level. Um, and really just believing in yourself ultimately at the end of the day, being your number one ally, even when you're in the dark and feeling alone. I feel like those are some of the biggest messages that my music speaks to me. And it's an ever ending story. I'm
Right.
constantly learning new things from it. It's always
Right.
teaching me.
Well, kind of going off of that, I really kind of enjoy the origin story of people's names and stage names and stuff like that. So how did Moon Magic come about?
Man, it's a long story, and I've been trying to figure out how to put it into like a little box. But really, it started with like my grandpa. My grandma was into music, and it got me kind of connected into it at a young age. And music has always kind of been there, but it wasn't something I took serious. And then when I graduated from college, I was in college getting the opportunity to really find words to process and explain what I was experiencing and as a youth and in my community that I didn't have the words for at the time. And then, hip hop had this huge political drive behind it and these amazing hypnotizing beats, and it was just such a vibe that being, around that culture, the hip hop culture in Los Angeles, where I went to school out in Cal Poly Pomona,
Nice.
really influenced me. And so when I came out here to Sacramento in 2016, and really was like, man, so what is life really? I did the right thing. I went to college. Crossed all the checks and boxes. Yeah, I still don't feel like I'm doing what I want to do. Um, and I, had to have that question with myself, and that's when Moon Magic kind of came out. I started looking for those spaces, and shout out to Rhythm and Poetry, a really amazing open mic spot here in Sacramento that was happening during the time, hosted by Graffiti Blue, Diva Cat, and later on Poetic Butterfly. But there's just a dope amount of OGs, the Michael Ellis, Sean King, just to name a few, who really fostered my creativity and saw a lot of potential in me, and just created the space for me to create. And a lot of those conversations that we had there is what birthed out Moon Magic. A lot of that listening and observing and sitting out looking at the moon and just listening to every chat after the show, and kind of connecting with that, and connecting more with spirit during that time, because I started doing ceremonies for the first time during that time as well, and really in search of what existed before colonialism.
Hmm.
I think that's a lot of what that the name represents to me. And the magic of always trying again. You know what I mean? No matter what you go through, continuing to get up and just breathing
Yeah,
and going to
absolutely.
work. That's magic to me.
Right.
Not giving up on your
So I
dreams, no
woke up
matter
today.
how
That's
many
magic.
doors
There you
close.
go.
Exactly. I just was watching the Donda documentary, Kanye West documentary, and it's crazy to see how
Oh,
many
that was
doors.
phenomenal.
You saw it?
Phenomenal.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's crazy to see how many doors, like, you think Kanye, like, he already came out, like, he was so young, he had so many opportunities, but to still see how many times they try to box him based on certain identities he already carried, it was really just inspiring to see how many, how much he never gave up to go outside that box and to continue to believe in himself.
Yeah.
Um, and so I was just surrounded by a lot of people who helped foster that and allowed Moon Magic to be born. And it's just me wanting to carry that torch and create that space for others, because I think we're all reflections of that. That's what music brings out, is like that ability to
Absolutely.
feel what you see in yourself. You're like, oh, I felt that. It's because, it's in you too.
Yeah. So I mean, you being out in Los Angeles before you came out to Sacramento, um, deep, deep rooted hip hop community out in Los Angeles, and I'm talking about not underground, not surface level, not commercial, but I'm
Yeah.
talking about underground. I'm talking about your freestyle fellowships,
Yeah.
your alcoholics, your
Living
cat
legends,
living legends, yes,
visionaries,
visionaries, yes,
like
yes, yes. So
around.
so who are some of the people that you looked up to as an MC coming up in Los Angeles?
Yeah, so those were like a lot of what I just named were like my first hip hop shows, and I didn't know at the time that I was like, oh, this is it was unlike anything I had ever experienced up at that point. So yeah, Visionaries was a big one. And then I got really plugged into like Gavlin, Reverie, the strong network of women who are in the underground scene in California, who are out in Los Angeles, but also connected to women up in the Bay Area, like Blimes Brixton, although she lives out in LA now too. Vel the Wonder, just seeing that strong group of women who are from California, who are from that area, the LA area, who were just like repping each other hard, who are younger, they're closer to me in age, rapping about things that I could relate to, at a time when I didn't see a lot of women in hip hop, especially women closer to my age. Like it definitely was super inspiring and something that, really influenced me. But along with living legends and visionaries, and there's actually a group that a lot of people don't know it from out there, but Revolutionary Rhythm with Kid Abstract is like such a dope undergroup crew out there that does not get enough
Hmm.
showtime as I believe they do. Every song they make is like a classic. If you don't know them yet, Revolutionary Rhythm, they're dope. They're dope. Um, but yeah, getting to go to those shows, definitely those were some of the main key highlights. Oh, and Psycho
Yeah,
de Mayo. They used to have the Psycho de Mayo event at Fox Theater in Pomona every year, and that event was lit.
yeah. Our first show, Um, there's a group, the Overseers that I'm in. Our first show was at Project Blowed. So,
Oh,
yeah,
snap.
yeah,
Yeah, and see,
yeah,
all of
yeah,
those people
yeah,
are influenced from that freestyle fellowship, like that whole era. Everybody, when I was getting into the scene, that's all the people who grew up on that era. So like you could tell that LA is cut from a different cloth for sure, for
yeah.
sure.
It's always special to go out there because it feels different. The energy is different. The vibe is different out there.
Mhm.
So that's super dope. So you mentioned a lot of things about women empowerment and stuff like that. Um, how do you consider yourself to be a role model for young ladies that's coming up in hip hop? With the
Mm.
the imagery that we see right now, it's not always the best aesthetic, but do you consider yourself like a role model and someone to kind of give a different look to?
That's a hard. I'm not the type of person who would ever want to tell people what they should or shouldn't do or what they should or should not look up to, you know? Freedom of thought, freedom of choice, freedom of all that. I can't say
Mm-hmm.
what my way is the right way, you know? Um, but definitely before really committing more to my art, I also was a teacher, and it's still something I spend a lot of time doing is being in the school system. I try my best to be able to guide and foster the youth, but I also think that we put people on a really unrealistic pedestal that doesn't even allow them to be human still. That's
Facts.
something that I've had to like kind of unlearn since the pandemic. You can be too self-righteous. You can be too good, quote unquote,
Mm-hmm.
that you're not even attached to this earthly realm anymore because you don't relate to the everyday people anymore. Um, and that actually can hinder your growth and it can hinder your ability to connect with folks because they don't even understand you anymore.
Absolutely.
And if you're not there actually helping the people where they're at, then what are you doing?
Right.
So I try to do the best in the areas I can do the best at, but I definitely know that I fall short in certain things. And I've been trying to teach myself a lot more to be able to have fun and to bring back enjoyment and to balance my life. Um, but I definitely try to share things that I've learned and try to give the lessons that I've learned. And I hope that that encourages people, or that people can look at that and learn something or take something for themselves for sure.
Yeah. So let's talk about the pandemic for a minute because I ask everyone pretty much the same question that comes on to my show. And how did you deal with that time when everything was on lockdown and you weren't able to, what I'm saying, able to
Yeah.
get to have the human experience where you're walking around and talking to people and being out and about? And how did that affect your artistry?
Yeah, I started laughing just because looking back at that time, man, you remember that time? It was crazy. It was like every day on the
Right.
phone, something different was going on. We're like, what the heck? What the everybody's live streaming, like it was intense. New songs every week. I really
Yes.
jumped in full throttle. I was like, oh, we really about to talk about the shit, man. I was sorry, can we cuss? My
No, it's
bad.
cool. Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
was really excited. I was like, "Oh, we finally about to have this conversation. Let's go." So I was dropping like a song every week on Instagram. I was like, "Oh, we're finally let's go." I was like going to do a project talking about everything that was going on, my feelings, my thoughts on it. I feel like the door had opened wide for us to finally talk about conversations that people were not open to because it wasn't commercialized enough and in a bite-sized bow that was visually appealing and what people wanted to hear and made them entertained. It was like, oh, we actually do want to talk about real shit now.
Right.
So I
Exactly.
definitely took advantage of it. I created a lot of music during that time. I was putting out a lot of mixtapes. um, but I did miss the human interaction. At first, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, "Oh, this is nice," because I'm a little bit more introverted, to be honest. So I liked to being able to kind of take a step back. I liked the idea of that being normalized instead of me being a weird person when I'm like, I don't wanna come out tonight. I wanna spend time with myself." And people are like,
Right.
"What? What is wrong with you?" I'm like, I just want to process for tonight." What? What are you talking about?
Nothing.
You need
Nothing
time
wrong
to
with that at all.
process?
Man,
So I'm
me
glad
time
that
is
that was
dope time.
embraced.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Me time is
Um,
dope time. So
Not gonna
I
lie
feel
though,
it.
like after 2021, halfway of the way through last year, like around this time last year, I was like, okay, I'm really over this. I'm I'm ready to go back out. I'm missing people. But I took a lot of advantage of it. I knew that it was a time that I wasn't going to be able to focus on sharing my music and going out and performing or touring or having those types of opportunities. So I knew it was a time of being able to really polish my skills. And I've been really working with my launch key, my little baby right here.
Hey.
I took an Ableton class, which I had Ableton for quite a couple of years before that, but I really was missing some of the key software, just like components of understanding. I actually bought the whole program and just a lot of that kind of back end stuff that I really just cleaned up, worked on my graphic designs, kind of wanted to cross all my T's, dot all my I's. So then when go time was ready, I feel like I'd have everything a lot more polished and be a lot more ready. And that led to me getting to produce my first album that came out January of this year, which was created during the pandemic. And from that
Nice.
process, so even though we didn't perform and I really did miss that part, I think for artists who were taking advantage of that time, it was definitely a time of cleaning house and there's still a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. So, just first of all, just let y'all know, Ableton is the shit. If y'all ain't on it,
Yeah.
telling you.
Ableton for life.
Hey, Ableton, man, is like the little step brother. Nobody really wanna talk about it, and it's always it's such an easy format to really be able to get out and produce. So yeah, that's dope. As far as getting into that, so you doing production on your tracks, and doing your editing and all of this stuff, and becoming kind of self maintained. How is it? How is it with balancing your rhymes? Do you feel at times
Mhm.
that you get a little unfocused with what your content is, and when you're trying to do wear all of these damn hats?
I'm laughing because, oh my gosh, wait. I have to get it out. Wait. You literally read my mind. I was like, right before this, I was like, man, I was thinking about this all day. I was like, man, it's really cool to do because I was doing a mix and mastering class earlier today, thinking about it. And it really does, like, it does bring you unfocused. Definitely. Definitely. I do. I do feel like it brings you unfocused. It can be a helpful thing, but it also can be a hindrance when you're focusing too much on all the background details that you don't get to focus as much on the artistry, the enjoyment of it, your
Yeah,
performance aspect, the being in the moment. When you're trying to cross all the T's and dot all the I's and you have 5 million hands, which I've gotten really good at. You should see my merch game at shows, gotten
there we
really good
go.
at it.
Facts.
But I think that's the importance of having a really good team. And as I grow and continue to learn as an artist, that is something I'm currently actually really interested in. Connecting more with folks who can help kind of alleviate some of that. I do have someone who helps with the mix and mastering. I have someone who helps with the videos. I have someone who helps me a little bit with editing. um, but yeah, it does take away from the just the writing aspect because you're looking at things from so many different lenses.
Hmm.
Um, but at the same time, it also gives you that aspect to see it from beginning to end too, which is kind of helpful because if you only are looking at it from like as an MC's perspective, then you might miss some of those like, okay, well, how does this fit into the sound of it sonically?
Right.
How's this gonna, what would the image of this song look like as a graphic design? Like, what is, I think it's still very important to have some of those kind of basics, but balance is important.
Yeah, and
Anyone
then
want to throw
even
some tips at your girl? Come at it.
facts, and then even in those situations too, when you're in the process of building, it also helps you with expectations. When
Mm,
you have somebody else doing it for you, you can kind of tell them.
mm,
You remember when you first started, and they say, okay, well, I want you to make a beat. Okay, I want you to make a beat that sound like such and such and such. You can actually go in and describe what type of drums you want, and describe what type of
yeah.
bass you want, and what type of melody you're trying to do, and all of that. You have that opportunity to do that once you get hands on and you do stuff, and you know what is you know what the you understand what the lingo is. Then it makes things a lot easier with your expectations as an MC, because
Mm,
a lot of times cats just they write, but they don't know how to construct songs, because if they have somebody that's, hey, make a beat for me, they're pretty much it's a crutch for them. Like, okay, well, they have to make this beat for me, and it has to line up, and if it doesn't, I got to shoehorn this shit in here because I don't know how to I don't know how to express myself. You know what I'm saying? As far as
Yeah.
telling them what I want. And you know, we all came up on the dog the give the dog whatever he wants, man. I'll rap on anything. I'll rap on anything. But you know, cause this is all I got. But
That's
now
how it
you
was
like
at
you,
the beginning.
yeah. You was rapping on shit that
True.
you look back now, you be like, man, I really rhymed on that. What was I thinking?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so it's like now, you know, you have standards and morals
Yeah.
and shit that you want to do, so that works perfect. I got to check out your video, your videos, not videos, for Mash Boogie, for Alchemist My Energy, Colors, and there are a lot of things that really seem to show off your personality in it. It's not a lot
Mm.
of there's not a lot of like fluff or like bullshit or anything with it. Um, what's like your method as far as being able to create for these the visuals for these projects?
Shout out to Michael Ellis and shout out to also Jabri Iso Anderson who helped with the Mash Boogie one. But Michael Ellis has definitely helped me a lot. He's one of my main videographers that I work with, and someone who's also been there from the beginning when Moon Magic was born. Um, I work with the team and just kind of we talk about different ideas and kind of what my thoughts and feelings are behind it, what kind of visuals I'm seeing at like the Alchemize My video, Alchemize My Energy one. I wanted to think about what represents alchemy. So I was thinking of like werewolf transitions, you know, with the moon aspect playing off of that, butterflies. And there's also this really dope mural that's on there of this woman, looks like, you know, that Rosie the Riveter type of image that is
Yeah.
there, but it's instead it's a snake and it has the third eye. And you know, snakes
Mm.
also represent transformation, so kind of wanting to hit these visuals that kind of represented that process of transformation. um with the colors video, it was kind of a similar thing where I wanted to kind of show the, you know, living life not in color. It was black and white. The scenes were black and white in purpose. And then the actual video was very colorful, um, and just very bright. Shout out to Goldie Quaker. She body painted me. And, you know, it was an 8-hour process. And you know, so just kind of what the song is saying, I want the visuals to translate that as many spaces as I can.
Yeah.
And I try to hit different spots and kind of go through that, and then of course just working with the team and asking them what kind of suggestions they have, because it was actually my team's suggestion for the body paint, and I had always wanted to do it. I don't think I would have necessarily done it, taken that leap, but I'm really glad I did because it was one of my favorite videos that I got to do. So definitely just kind of key hitting with the song kind of vibe it has, and then also collaborating with other people
Yeah,
who are part of my visual team.
yeah, that's the one thing that I noticed. It was like you're not really scared of anything. I mean, because I would have. There's no way. I can't even like imagine. Like, yo, could you do the body paint shit? I'm like, nah.
I was scared, I'm
I'm
not
not
gonna lie.
doing
But
that.
now that I did it, I'm like, man, I wish I would have done it more detailed and more close up. Now I wish I would have gone crazier with it. But I was definitely afraid at first.
Yeah, that's so dope. Um, so who's some of the notable people that you've worked on, in the past, and is there anybody that's on your bucket list right now that you would like to work with?
Um, Notable people who I've worked with. So, you know, I've gotten to be on the road with Versol. Shout out to Versol. She's out in the Bay Area. One of my mentors here in Sacramento is Brew Lee. Shout out to Brew Lee. I've gotten to work with him a lot. Um, People I would like to work with. Oh my goodness, that list can go so far. Erica Badu, number one.
Wow.
I'd love to work with Gavlin, Reverie, like that whole squad of women that I was talking about, Blimes,
Hmm.
Brixton, like just them all being from California, and just being some of the first visual representations of women in hip hop when I really started getting plugged in, who are current in the scene around my age. That would be awesome. Um, and yeah, collaborations in general is actually a lot of where I am open to doing more. So if anybody listens to this, wants to collaborate with your girl, hit me up. Because when I first got it started, I felt like I had so much I had to say, and I was very like, it was like a door, and I was like, okay, this is the time, and now that I've been doing it for a while, it's more like, wanting to be open to new avenues and new collaborations and new creativity and new energy. um, all the Word Wizards crew who I've gotten to collaborate with, shout out to them. But yeah, definitely got lots of, I'd love to see a Badu track happening one day.
Yeah, that actually sounds like that would be pretty dope. That's one of the people
Thank
I would
you.
love. I would love to meet. I would love to meet Erica Badu. I think she would be an amazing person to just vibe out
She
with.
is amazing. I met her once. I I waited through like 3 hours to meet her. I had a painting for her and everything, and I just was like, "I love you," and she was like, "I love you too," and I felt it in my heart. I felt like she
There you
meant
go.
it. And we got to take a picture, and it was really dope. Like, definitely one of my top moments for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, so you paint too?
I do. I do. If you could see some of my paintings in the back, I'm kind of working on something right now. I'm not like, I wouldn't call myself the best visual artist, but it's definitely something that I have fun kind of doing. This is one of my more favorite pieces.
That's pretty
Uh,
good.
but it's something I kind of more do when am in like in a quiet kind of more reflection space. I'm not always. I kind of go through periods of I have a lot to say, and then I have not so much to say. So if I'm in a period of not having so much to say, I'll definitely work more on the visual side of things. So like all these, wait. All of those are mine.
Nice.
I'm very colorful, if you could tell.
Yeah,
But
that's
yes, I
nice work.
definitely try to dabble a little bit in all the artists' trees as I can, but I would not, I would not compare mine to somebody who definitely that's their main element. It's more something I do on the side, definitely. But
No,
my
that's
graphics
no.
are
You can't. Yeah,
getting
you can't cut.
doper. Check out my
You,
graphics.
yeah. See, you can't even like downgrade that at all because art is so subjective. Like
Mm,
my daughter like
hmm.
did a watercolor paint at school, and I posted it,
Yeah.
and people was like, "You need to make an NFT out of that. That's hella dope." And I was like, "What?" She just was. She don't even like art. She just did it because it was her class, and I was
Yeah.
like, okay, that just showed me right there. I'm like, okay, this is different. It's different,
Yeah.
different stuff. So, what are some of your goals? For from here now and to into the future. What are some of the things that you wish to accomplish?
Yeah, definitely getting on the road. I'm excited about that and just having more opportunities to get on the road. Just being able to like expand my network, expand the people that I get to outreach my music to. That's a big, big goal of this year for me is just being able to be in front of new audiences, and getting my music heard in new places that might not have heard it before. And then aside from that, just continuing to work on music. I'm really, really excited with where I am in my artistry because, like I said early on, I had like so much that I was just doing and just putting out so much. And now I'm more in a space of really being a lot more calculated with it, forming my sound a lot more sonically, just really knowing what that sounds like, being more comfortable in those arenas. And so, I'm really looking forward to a lot of the music side of like music production and just things being a lot more musicality added into it,
Yeah.
um, and being able to really dive into that. And, the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit on your girl right here. Okay. I got big, big dreams. And I mean, I'd like to see that collab with Erica Badu. Okay. That's what's in the future. I'm putting it out there. Mama Badu and I got a debut happening, 2030 something.
2030. You need sooner than that, right?
Yeah, right. 2020 something, just keeping grinding, keeping moving, keep it growing, for sure.
Hey, well, what I do want to say is continue to have fun because that's one of the best elements about you, especially interviewing you was dope, and your music really displays the fact that you continuously have fun. You take
Mhm.
things serious, but not too serious, and you're not afraid to take chances, and that takes a lot of bravery with art because a lot of people don't really vibe with that shit like that. So
Yeah.
continue to do the things that you need to do, and you're gonna be great, and you're off to a great start right now. So, tell the people where they can find you.
Well, thank you. You can find me at Moon Magic Flows. That's on all my platforms, and moonmagicflows.com is the website. Make sure to check out the tour, slapfrost.com. Get your tickets if you're out in the Midwest. And then whenever there's a show, you can catch me live, chilling at the merch booth, catching a vibe. And come connect. It'd be dope to get to chat with y'all and find me online.
All right. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap this thing on up. Thank you, Moon Magic, for coming through and talking tonight. It's been a pleasure. Great interview. So continue to do your thing. Hopefully, when y'all come out this way, back out this way, because I'm not going to Chicago. I'll wait till y'all come out here, and I'll come through and see what's up. So maybe I'll try to make my way on the bill or something.
Hey, that's right. That's right.
All right. Well, you have a good evening, and we're going to go ahead and close it out. Difficult roads often lead to most beautiful destinations. Shoot your shot. Go for the win. You might make it. Peace.
Hey.
It's the mashed potato mash boogie. I'm the mashed potato mash boogie. Right like sushi and smoothies. Your homeboy wanna do me. I'ma keep it zooming, blooming. Ideas in my room, man. Kicked a couple of fears. Your presence is the gift. The moment right here. Raise a glass with the cheer light. Keep it tight like my spit. I fire, inspire. Always to get higher. Yeah. Some friends like trends. Always in. Word wizard, keep your eyes on the pen. Lights get dim. Wheels and bend. Keep my eyes on the prize. The gifts within. Always speak your truth. It's a catch-22. Give it back to the youth. Show and prove when it's time to bust a move. Go ahead, get loose. Life's too short. What you got to lose? Like, let go, let it go, let it go. Let it grow, glow, yeah. Let go, let it go, let it go. Let it grow, glow, yeah. Chillin' like Bernie, catch me like the birdie. Put maps in my tab so I'd make it to 30. 27 feeling pretty good now. Catch me running in my light up in sex town. Yeah, wanted to drown in a lake in my face. PTSD, memories be erased. Then the MIC became the only thing I ever need. Now I'm seeing things too. Tabs in the lab while I'm doing the dab. Dancing like you're dead, it's the gift of gab, yeah. Come alive in my raps. Came to thrive, all caps, and I ain't leaving scraps, nah. Even my dust, bustin' that flow. Blow in my nose, bustin' raw at the show. Something done forever, gangsta, J. Cole.